Welcome back to another episode of TalktoTat, real people, real talk, real life. I am Tatiana Monet, your wonderful, I think a good word might be insatiable. Actually gotta look that up. But yes, invaluable host. I don't feel like looking up insatiable right now. I really just felt like using it because I have been hearing it a lot lately. So yeah, you know how sometimes you have words out there that you've heard them or been around them, but you've never had a use for them on your own. So it's kind of like that. But yeah, I'm gonna look that up. Anyway, so thank you all for tuning in to another episode this week. What I wanted to talk about today was about, should you silence your inner child? I say that because I have found that depending on who you meet, when you show a certain characteristic or have a certain level of energy and excitement, or if you like to partake in certain activities and tasks and stuff like that, it could make people say certain things that to me are off-putting. And I say that because they express more like a condescending tone, basically like trying to say I'm childish or something like that. You know what I mean? And some examples of what may warrant people saying that is, for instance, when I get really excited, I'm just like giddy, like, yeah! Like my voice gets high pitched, my eyes light up, I'm very bouncy, but it's rightful. I mean, granted, it's my emotion, so it's rightful in that sense. But what I'm happy about, I'm also showing it in my voice, in my actions, you know what I mean? And so I don't know what this sense of just having to be so stern and serious and I don't want to say calm, but just borderline stoic when you enter adulthood. That misconception is absurd to me. I don't understand why like in some ways, how a child may act as far as showing excitement or joy, how that can be looked at as childish for an adult, I appreciate the big kid in me. There have been times where people will talk to me a certain type of way because I have a lighter voice. Like, granted, I speak with a lot of conviction, but my voice is of a higher pitch and I'm very short in stature. And, sometimes how I wear my hair, it could come off as like I'm way younger than what I am, especially because I look very youthful. So when I encounter people and I'm excited about something, or if I'm doing something and they're like, oh, like, you still like that stuff? Okay, for instance, my favorite color is pink. I've actually been told by quite a few adults, like, oh, that's a little girl's color. That's a child's color. And my instant remark would be, I didn't know that colors had an age on them. So because I like pink, I'm a little girl. Okay. I appreciate the inner child in me, but some things I don't think should be combined between being childish and not. Like, I think some things are a big misconception, I do feel like the adult world, we could be so serious with things and things could be just so heavy, so grit locked into reason and logic that sometimes tapping back into what really guided and molded and fueled our younger selves is necessary. When I was a kid, I loved to be outside. Like, I played outside. I know what outside smell like. A lot of these kids can't say that. And then I also like to watch cartoons. I'm a avid Harry Potter fan. I like to collect like little figurines and stuff like that. Even some of the stuff that I like. If you grew up in the 90s, y'all are familiar with them little light up shoes. I got a pair of light up shoes and I just wear it in a way that suits a 32-year-old. Now, even my friends have joked with me, be like, childish. Like, that's a big word that we use in my friendship group. with my 3 female best friends, we be like childish. Like when something happens, like that's one of the first words, that we'll say when somebody like really being kitty, you know what I mean? But I often find that like when it's something that most people have not done in a while, and this is like leaving my friendship group, I'm just talking about the general public and people that I've encountered in my daily adventures. When it's something that they haven't revisited in a while, or it's something that they were more prone to doing in their youth, then they like to reduce you doing it now as being childish and wanting you to be serious for a second, and I'm just like, okay, there's so much going on in this world that sometimes some relief or an escape from that is very necessary. And me tapping into my inner child, painting with my bare fingers, or creating something around the house, or having a private concert where I'm frolicking around my place, dancing like no one's watching. Shout out to HA2. I'm going to do those things. If I feel like doing a cartwheel outside, I'm going to do a cartwheel. I remember now, the only reason why I haven't done it lately is because I don't want to mess it up. But from time to time, I have gotten on my bed and jumped up and down. I have done those things. Sometimes I will stand outside while it's raining and without fully getting wet, but I would stand just close enough to where I feel like the trickle, or not the trickle, the steam and the mist of the rain as it hits my skin. Like as kids, a lot of us probably played outside in inclement weather and stuff like that. To me, it's not childish, it's nostalgia. It's a chance to break away for a moment. It's a chance to reset. Why would you want to soften that or silence it altogether? I never understood that. Like some people can be so stiff, right? Like you're in a meeting and the meetings, everybody's using corporate jargon and just sitting upright. Like for just a second, whenever I am in business professional, it's a whole nother mode that I'm in. You know what I mean? Like everything is very direct, very straight to the point, very well, that's direct, very critical, very left-brained, very it's not room for a lot of emotion. It's more so focusing on the premise of fact. And that's a mode that I can only be in for a short period of time. I like to be, goof around and joke and laugh and stuff like that. I don't like the brow frown type of vibe to, loom too long. I'm not a fan of that. So me finding joy in places that I can, like even when I'm at work, there's times where instead of me like walking to get something, I may do a little jog or something, or I may skip to it, skip to get whatever I need to get or wherever I need to go, just do playful stuff. Like with my friends, they know I'm very playful. I might pull on their earlobe or whatever I may do, especially if it's like any of my male friends or my male siblings, I'm getting on your back. I'm jumping on you. I'm doing those things because it took for us to evolve from our childhoods to be the adults that we are today. And I'm going to celebrate that every chance I get. I'm going to buy me an adult coloring book. I do still want a Lisa Frank one because her stuff was pretty dope. I love coloring Lisa Frank. So if anybody wants to send me Lisa Frank or give me some good suggestions on good adult coloring books or black coloring books, please drop them in the comments below or send them, via DM or something like that, or tag me. I would love to take part in those. But within reason, though, side note, I looked up some of those black coloring books and stuff like that. Like, first of all, if I can go to the dollar store and get a book in that price range, I'm not paying $30 for a coloring book. I will make my own. I promise you I will. Like some stuff just has to have some reason and logic to it. Like that's when my inner child like, hold on, no, this ain't a conversation for us. You got it. You got it, adult. You got it. But anyway, I feel robbed when people call me childish because of how I express myself when I'm showing excitement, or, when I'm engaged in something. Now granted, if I'm being petty, okay, yeah, rightfully call me childish. Like, yeah, but we're not talking about that. I'm just talking about when people try to use calling you being childish and wanting you to silence your inner child when there's nothing wrong with displaying it in that moment. I mean, when we're raising children or entertaining puppies, we tap into it. We use those voices, and, we get on our hands and knees and play, or whatever the case may be. So it's just like, what's wrong with taking some time to do that for yourself from time to time within reason? Like, I'm not sitting here saying I'ma just, go to a daycare and just chill out with the kids. Like, no, that's a little creepy unless I just really love kids and I want to like help out at the daycare. That's not my narrative. I don't dislike kids. But my tolerance for censoring myself is very low. Very, very low. So why even put myself in that environment? Because you got to be mindful of what you say around kids. But yeah, like I really have been wanting to ask people that. It's more so of a question for myself that I've posed, but not but soon I actually will approach people and be like, so what's the deal with that? Like, basically the next time I hear it, you know what I mean? I can't backtrack now, but me being asked those questions, that question about like, like, oh, that's not for adults, or, you don't think that's childish, or, yeah, I was into that when I was a little kid, like those comments and stuff like that. Like, now when I encounter them, I'm going to say, well, what makes you think that? You know what I mean? Now, granted, the pink question, when I ask them that, it kind of silences people for a second, especially now that people are more liberated in self-expression, especially males to a certain extent. They're wearing pink, and they're heterosexual. It's not a slight against their masculinity at all, nor should it ever have been, so that's something that me speaking on can be received better. But as far as like levels of maturity, I don't think that engaging with and manifesting in your inner child should be tainted by the false ideologies of thinking that subtracts from how adult you are. I don't like that. I don't like that. Children are very pure. They are not conforming to what is going on in society, because most of it, they're oblivious to the constructs and the systems that we have put in place as adults. So with that being said, how they think and what they say, it can be really rejuvenating. Like, I mean, that show that Steve Harvey had, kids say the darndest things. Or no, that was Are You Smarter Than a Fifth Grader? Are You Smarter Than a Fifth Grader? Yeah, that was that show. Or was that Bill Cosby? Okay, don't look. Either way, there's two shows that I remember. Kids Say the Darndest Things and Are You Smarter Than a Fifth Grader? It's a reason why they're more so talking about kids when it comes to that, because it's like they're not corrupted or influenced by what the common people are saying they should think and feel and do. They're just naturally doing what comes to mind. That's a liberating place of existence to be as a human being. And me tapping into my inner child helps me harness that. So me thinking outside of the box, me being spontaneous, me showing extreme excitement, me, doing certain activities or wearing a certain color or trying something different. I'm going to do those things. That's the inner child that I identify with. So if I'm giddy and I'm excited because I'm standing in line about to do something or get something that I desire, yep, I'm doing it. Like, what is it about being an adult that we have to subtract from how we show that we appreciate something, or that we are engaged in something, or that we're happy about something? Why does one have to tie into the other in this regard. I don't understand it. And part of me don't want to understand it. Part of me don't. The curiosity in me does, absolutely. But part of me is just like, I don't care to figure out why you ain't on the same page as me. What I don't want though is the chastisement, the belittling, the ridicule, and all of that, and the isolation that comes behind it. That's not necessary. You grew up how you grew up, as did I. So I'm a product of that, as are you. One doesn't outweigh the other. You're just you over there, different. I'm me over here, different. Let me be good at what I'm good at while you're over there being good at what you're good at. But don't knock me for what I got going on or how my mind works. And it brings me to a whole nother thought. Sometimes people do that because they jealous of you. I just hit my dog because she finna do this like little low bark for like several minutes until whoever decides to not be in the hallway goes away. And I don't feel like hearing that right now. So I popped her. That, when dogs are raised in Black families, they get the same type of treatment. So there you go. But she's fine. She's sitting right here. She's chilling. Anyway, but yeah, I do think that they're jealous, that they're insecure, that they are, in a sense, scared or intimidated to be as bold and walk in the light like I am. You know what I mean? Just being able to take that step forward and really show what their heart is saying. Not everybody does that. And sometimes people, instead of them showing that they're receptive to it or that they appreciate it or that they just don't care and they just, they go that way, you go this way. Some people choose to follow a completely different alternative and make you feel bad for it. They attempt to dim your light because they're not working on theirs shining. I don't respect that. I like when people are different, It's one thing for something to be alarming, like disturbing. We're not talking about that, but when people are busy exploring themselves and tapping into different levels and layers of themselves, having moments of nostalgia, being super happy, really being fun and giddy and eager in the moment. Don't rain on their parade. Go away. I think that trying to reduce someone from the height that they are to where you are, it's like, who would want to be here with you? Not in that place. It's this song that my mom sings from time to time. I don't know the name of the artist or anything like that. And I don't really know the title of the song like that. And that's fine with me. But it goes like this. She'll be like, hey, you, get off my mountain. And that's what just popped in my head when I was thinking about that. It's like, get off my mountain. You stay in your lane and have your seriousness and your melancholy and your somberness and all of that. I'm going to be over here with my zealousness, my unction, me being real giddy. I'm going to be over here with that. But leave me be. We don't have to cast ourselves aside or cast a stone, especially because some people like to throw the stone and hide your hand. Just because somebody is different than you and they're tapping into parts of themselves that really help them just flourish in their childhood or just brings back good memories. You know what I mean? Like me, tapping into my inner child is sometimes going to certain authentic Mexican restaurants or mercados and getting me some gorditas. Why? First of all, gorditas are amazing. And if y'all don't know what gorditas are, they're little, I like to equivocate them to Hot Pockets in the sense of it's meat encased in a type of breading or a tortilla. So these are circular shaped. So it's a circular tortilla pocket, and you stuff meat and cheese, and I squeeze some fresh lime juice in there. And then just the little top of the gordita stays open because that's how they shove all the stuff in there. So basically it's like a sealed quesadilla, type of thing. And my dad would take us, to go get gorditas on the east side in Chicago or wherever he could find them. But I distinctly remember a few times when we would go on the east side, and we would always get an ice cold pop that was in a glass bottle. So we would both get a Sprite and have our gorditas and sit there. And mind you, it's like those mercados, it would be like part restaurant, part supermarket. So when, people from Chicago or areas that have a big Latin influence, y'all know what I'm talking about. Like those little tiendas are the business. And we would just sit there at a little table and just, it was amazing. So whenever I go, I found this one place. If any of y'all in Georgia are interested, it's in Forest Park, right off, God dang it. It's inside of a little plaza, not far, in the same plaza as this little crystal store. Actually, okay, so if y'all look up 111 Studios, my homegirl, that's her podcast recording studio. It's in the same plaza as 111 Studios. 111 is ONE, and then there's a dot, and then the number 11. So if you Google that, and it's in Forest Park, Georgia, that same plaza has that Mexican spot that has those gorditas. When I saw that on the menu, y'all, I frolicked. I was so excited talking to the server. I was like, I need this. This is stuff that me and my late father used to do, and my whole family. We all like would just max some gorditas, like godly. So that was me tapping into my inner child, reaching back to a moment that brought me a lot of joy, and I'm allowing that moment to translate into my adult life. I'm going to do that. For sure, I'm going to do that. Like, even with Disney Plus, sometimes I go back and I watch certain things that I used to watch as a kid because it takes me back to what life was like in that moment. Certain people that were alive at that time, funny moments and just happy. So I'm not going to silence my inner child. I'm going to still embrace pink. Granted, side note, when my daddy came and visited my place and he saw my room, he didn't even want to sleep in there. He said, when you have a man, what man is going to want to sleep in this pink ASS room? I was like, this is my 1-bedroom apartment, my room, so it's going to be pink. He was like, yeah, but when you make room for a man, you got to reconsider that. I understand what he's saying. Even though it's still my room, I get it. I'm slowly incorporating other colors in there, like espresso brown and gold and rose gold. So I'm slowly incorporating those colors in there. But when I do get my house, my land, my mortgage, I will have a different color scheme for my bedroom and use the pinks and all of that stuff for and I call it my artwork space. So instead of like just artwork, work has parentheses around it. So it's going to be my artwork space because that's where I do my art and my work at. That is going to just, glitter, razzle dazzle, pink, all of that. My inner child is going to flourish and dwell in that room. And I'm going to have a designated space for my inner child in my home. Yes. It's going to be amazing. So I do get some instances where it's like, okay, you have to elevate. You do. And I really don't care that I'm referencing this person, even though he has some things going on recently, that people try to attest to his character and stuff like that, which, hey, I'm not against people's opinions and stuff like that. But me referencing this comment is relative to the content I have going on. So it's not about him in this moment. It's about the advice that he gave that I do respect and appreciate and take heed to. So TD Jake said, you can have, and I'm loosely quoting him, It was on one of his sermons that I don't remember because I really do like his sermons. That man knows how to speak. That is a talent. That is a gift. So he said, you can have your tools with you, but you don't have to use every single tool every time. Some of them stay ready for you when you need them. You know what I mean? They don't have to go away. So just because you phase out of a tool or you no longer need it in this moment, it doesn't necessarily mean that you're permanently rid of it. It just means it's stored away in a safe space until you need it again, if you need it again. And in a lot of ways, that's how I like to think about my inner child. She's always there. That young Tatiana Monet will forever be there. I'm going to always look out for her and bring her along. But there are there are some times where she will be dominant and she's going to have her stage, her time. And then there's going to be more moments where she's, along for the ride. She's not the leading star. You know what I mean? She's the understudy. So she's just there for a second. That's good balance. That goes back to what I talk about often on this show is duality and balance, and just having a good mixture of multiple things instead of things just being all the way left or all the way right. Right. Jesus, excuse me. That gray area. This is another way that I am learning how to appreciate and expand further into that gray area in my life as far as my behavior and how I conceptualize things and how I shift. Bringing my inner child along with me, because sometimes life can be so dark, so hard, that you need a break. You need to come up for air. You need to release. And for me, I do that by having that moment to be my inner child. And no one's going to take that away from me. So no matter the questions, the judgment, mind you, thou shalt not judge. She ain't going nowhere. Get used to her. I actually love her a lot. And without that inner child, my level of creativity for the things that I have been able to put out as far as like my artwork, my writing, just everything that I do, my crafts, just me, it's thanks to her. I mean, granted, of course, God and my parents and my village, I get, yes, all of that, but that's executed through her. My conduit for self-expression is all founded upon the basis of my inner child, which was cultivated through two amazing, God-fearing parents. Why would I get rid of her? She is a gem. So I say that to say, for anybody out there who feels like people try to put their thumb on you and make you feel like you're not mature enough, or that you showing certain characteristics that may be more common in children is a bad thing. My thing is, if it's working for you, then who cares? You know what I mean? If it's not causing nobody else no harm, who cares? Just go, be you, do you. Tap into your inner child. Nurture that version of yourself. If you are a reader and that's what you did as a child, pick up a book. If you like to cook and that's something that you and one of your loved ones did when you were growing up, get back in that kitchen. If you like to make clothes and stuff and you were helping design stuff for the school plays or for your relatives for different holidays, get back in the workroom. Get on that sewing machine. Make it do what it do. Whatever it is that drives you, collecting cars. Like my dad did that. He collected model cars. Collect those cars. And there's ways that you can allow that to tie into your adult life. You could become like a prized collector where now people are actually like trying to buy and trade with you. So you're still tapping into your inner child while you're allowing it to transcend in your adult life. You don't have to choose. I'm not choosing. So I hope that this content, although a little brief, made you all think a little bit and just take a moment to step back and be like, yeah, I'm grown. You know what I mean? But every age that I was that led me up to here mattered. And I can go and revisit who I was in those moments and use those different parts of me to keep going now. Yeah, I can look back. I can, revisit. I can reach. I can tap into more than just what has been showing up at the surface of me. There's nothing wrong with that. Feel the way you live the way you feel. That's that pathos that I'm gonna plug my business. Like that's definitely what that is. It all connects. You gotta balance yourself out. You're not just this adult. You know what I mean? If you like to go outside and stuff like that, go camping. Or if you and your family always did road trips and stuff like that, go on a road trip, go travel, whatever. But you get one take on this stage of life. So right now we still on action. They ain't called and cut yet. So until then, make it count. You get one good performance. You know what I mean? So use all the props and stage hands that you can to usher you along the way. So, yeah. If you have any thoughts that you would like to contribute to the content in this episode, I welcome them. Please drop them in the comment space below or tag me, or you can message me directly. And I encourage you to follow me on all platforms. The Instagram for my personal is Tatiana Monet. The podcast is _TalktoTat. If you would like to follow me on TikTok, it's Tatiana_Monet. And this episode is streaming on YouTube and on Apple Podcasts. I do appreciate you guys tuning in to this week's episode of TalktoTat, real people, real talk, real life. I want to say that the more I do this, the more I pick my brain on what needs to be said, the more appreciation I have for this platform that I'm building, because I'm noticing that the stuff that I'm talking about, it may be held like privately, but just putting it out there mainstream, or just these random thoughts of a person like me, it's people out here that connect with this content, whether it's 2 views or 2,000 views or 2 million views. It's somebody out there that I know can utilize what I'm saying. And I am very, very grateful for all of you guys that tune in and share. So from the bottom of my heart, a big thank you from your girl, Tatiana Monet. Until next time, another week of great content is to come. Bye.